The extraordinary power of LeBron James' basketball greatness remains an anomaly. Heading into year 22, a few months away from approaching 40, still remains one of the top-tier superstars in the league, generating the most attention. His reactions and what he eats for dinner gets posted more on social media than an average Brandon Ingram highlight. Of course, many future NBA players from his basketball camps been retired from the game for years. Most can't even fully enjoy watching his dominance without quickly making narratives both from his loyal fans and biggest critics. Whenever James has an excellent game in 2024, gets called the GOAT, but whenever playing bad or subpar, the haters call him wash. Regardless of opinions, the king of longevity, one-of-a-kind megastar, the face of the NBA, something the league continues to struggle crowning. Post-James era, many number one picks in draft after LBJ already been out the association for years. What happened to those players? Starting with Dwight Howard, first pick out of high school by the Orlando Magic, forever known as being snubbed from top 75, the future Hall of Famer indeed lived up to his number one pick status, by far best player in his class. Only Andre Iguodala outlasted him, playing 18 seasons in the league, a huge accomplishment. Could have easily been a top 10 center all time. In an NBA.com GM survey back in 2009, Howard received second most votes on the player to build a team around for the next decade behind LeBron, was in the top 5 player discussion starting in 2009, took Orlando to the finals by age 23, also more remembered for ruining a Kobe-LeBron finals matchup, his ceiling being unlimited before hampered by a serious lower back injury. His best year 2011 averaged 23 and 14, won 3 straight Defensive Player of the Year awards, second in MVP voting before becoming a diva. Never changed his cringy attitude. His superstar status faded after struggling with the Lakers, played through pain, cared too much about pleasing everybody, made his final All-Star game back in 2014. Crazy to imagine, 2012 at the young age of 26, the last season, Howard averaged above 20 points a game. After not getting along with Harden, being looked at as a vet, the immature aloof big man ousted to his hometown Hawks, passed around like a blunt, 5 different teams in 5 seasons, Charlotte, Washington, back to LA. It was Bron's leadership and AD perfectly excelling at the power forward spot, allowed Dwight to drive at center, becoming a pest, catching lobs, grabbing rebounds, rejuvenated his image a bit before 2 more seasons, then enjoyed himself overseas. Howard absolutely better than most number one picks, but given his injury and attitude, could have went down a top 20 player all time, but sadly, not even top 75. Andrew Bogut picked by the Bucks, a very decent starting center, but nowhere near the best number one pick available. Looking back at his class, CP3 should have been consensus first pick. Also, Deron Williams a much better peak than Bogut can ever dream of. The Bucks having a backcourt of TJ4 and Michael Redd, drafting a big made sense at the time, but Bogut's career derailed a bit by injuries, more like the type of guy most fitted to be the 4th to 8th pick, made just one All-NBA team his 5th season, career numbers of 16 and 10, 2.5 blocks, one of the best defensive bigs, a super fundamentally sound center, good footwork, some post moves, smart, strong, coordinated, but not soft. Teammates can just throw up lobs for finishes. Also has good court vision, although his offense never took off. The devastating elbow injury after the dunk, one of the scariest falls you'll ever see. His entire career dealt with a multitude of injuries. Golden State made the gutsy move, trading their beloved Monte Ellis for the injury-prone big. 32 games played 2013 Warriors, the year Steph Curry truly broke out. Bogut proceeded to play 67, 67, and 70 games each of the next 3 seasons, made defensive second team 2015, a good mentor to Draymond, won the 2015 title, but his body couldn't hold up, breaking down Game 5 2016 finals with a knee injury, overshadowed by Draymond's suspension, but Bogut going down, the main reason why Golden State lost. Traded to Dallas after to make room for Durant, played 62 more regular season games later. His last hurrah, 2019 Warriors, 14 seasons in the association, a very good career. Andrea Bargnani, an international bust of a travesty. The 7-footer, maybe the most lame number one pick of the century. Not all-time bad to be labeled a massive historic bust. Nothing memorable. In an underwhelming class featuring college sensations Adam Morrison and JJ Redick, while LaMarcus Aldridge out of Texas, a guaranteed bucket. but due to the greatness of Dirk Nowitzki leading the Mavs to the finals as a 7-foot European. Bargnani, similar in height, also has a 3-ball, being from Italy, close enough to Germany. A massive gamble for the Raptors, but his upside off the charts. Toronto, knowing they had a star in Chris Bosh, played the same exact position as Aldridge. There was simply no need to draft LA. Andrea averaged 11.6 points, under 4 boards off the bench, regressed at year 2, not an engaging personality. Many say he's entitled, played no defense, later became king of empty stats, put up 15, 17, over 21 points and 19 a game, absolutely lazy, having the size and shooting, but never improved in other areas, booed out of Toronto. Ironically, Bargnani's final season in Canada, Kyle Lowry's first season with the Raptors, the 24th pick of the draft, later became the greatest player in franchise history and the most decorated player in the class. Helped build the Raptors, while the 7-footer embarrassed himself with the Knicks, most memorable for taking an awful unnecessary 3-point shot.
What is he doing? What is he doing, folks?
Summing up how much of a disaster his career was, out the league by age 30, back in 2016, one of the softest 7-footers the NBA will remember, one of the most likely candidates as worst NBA player all time to average above 20 points in a single season. Greg Oden, super tragic ending, filled with all-time great potential, especially as a franchise defensive changer. Even picked ahead of the great Kevin Durant from dominating at Ohio State, giving upperclassmen Al Horford and Joakim Noah problems at the title game, both of whom excellent players in their own right. His right leg, slightly shorter than his left, had hip surgery in 6th grade. First underwent microfracture knee surgery before the start of his rookie season, played 61 of his 105 NBA games in year 2, averaged 9 and 7, showed promise and upside before needing surgery in his left knee after 21 games into what's supposed to be his breakout year with setbacks, more knee surgeries after another, waived in 2012, picked up by Miami the 2014 season. After 3 years of not playing and countless rehabs, his body couldn't handle playing professional basketball, sadly out the league, followed by failed comeback attempts, played in the CBA 25 games, now on Butler's college basketball staff. A heartbreaking, unfortunate story given all his struggles, while former college teammate Mike Conley, still a good role player, and his former draft rival Kevin Durant still dominating at a superstar level. Derrick Rose on his very last legs, expected to finish out his 2025 contract with Memphis. If the former MVP can finish out his 16th season, will be remembered as an inspiration, overcoming several surgeries, having high lifestyle last a lifetime, the rare point guard qualities of speed, shiftiness, and agility to finish from every angle at the rim. Rose was supposed to be the superstar to truly challenge LeBron out east, became the youngest MVP at 22, just his 3rd season, the best player on a 62-win contender, having a limited offensive supporting cast. The future supposed to be bright until the tragic ACL tear, April 28, 2012, one of the worst days in NBA history. Limited to 61 total games the following 3 seasons, Rose became 20% of his former self, had to change his style a bit before the Bulls traded him to the Knicks, adjusted to become one of the better 6 men, resurrected his career in Minnesota. 2021, his last great basketball run until declining. If LeBron indeed plays 2 more seasons, on his way to outlasting D. Rose. Blake Griffin, the high-flying super athletic power forward out of Oklahoma, easily the consensus first pick. Even Golden State at the time would have taken Blake if they had the number 1 pick. A borderline Hall of Fame caliber career whose greatness derailed heavily by injuries. Had all the talent and potential, becoming a top 3 player and multiple-time MVP candidate. After a brutal knee injury forcing him to miss his rookie season, the 6'9" freak athlete became a highlight factory, put up over 22 and 12 strictly off of athleticism. Pretty healthy first 4 full seasons, peaking by 2014-15, finished 3rd for MVP, only made 2nd team All-NBA due to Bron and Durant sharing the forward spots, but then the injuries started to pile up. A man possessed the 2015 playoffs, but overshadowed by the 3-1 blown lead to Houston, then toward his quad, re-aggravated 2016 playoffs. The Clippers' curse continued, knee and toe problems, traded to Detroit, dragged the sorry roster to the playoffs, limping on one knee. Blake sacrificed every ounce of his greatness, just for a first-round exit, agreeing to a buyout, joining Brooklyn, needing him to play a big role with the injuries to Harden and Kyrie, did not have enough juice to squeeze past Milwaukee, falling in 7, signed with Boston a year too early, unclaimed summer of 23, announced his retirement in April. 2 months later, the Celtics won the title. His name might be forgotten when mentioned with some of the biggest stars of the 2010s, but Griffin's hard work, leaving everything on the line when hobbled, will forever be respected. John Wall, one of the most anticipated point guards coming into the league, all that hype playing in Kentucky, the Dougie dance, having a song named after him, lightning fast speed, capable playing above the rim, an elite playmaker. Just like many other number 1 picks, the 5-time All-Star's career absolutely destroyed by injuries, having to carry a sorry-ass Wizards franchise on his back from the Gilbert Arenas disaster, 3 straight 20-something win seasons before the emergence of Bradley Beal. Wall finally learned to slow his game down, having Steve Nash-type vision and projected to be a lockdown defensive specialist with Dwayne Wade intangibles. By age 26, considered a top 4 point guard, averaged 23 and 10 assists, a 49-win squad, good enough for third team All-NBA, a game short of reaching the conference finals, only needed to work on his jumper, but sadly came the knee injuries. After 4 straight healthy seasons, underwent surgery on his left knee January of 2018, returned for the playoffs but not himself, then a heel injury, expected to be sidelined 6 to 8 months, December, followed by rupturing his left Achilles tendon February of 2019 at his home, ruined his career and likely his Hall of Fame chances. His Supermax kicked in, played just 74 more games, failed attempts with the Rockets and Clippers, nobody interested, a very good player with a short peak, ruined by several injuries, destroyed his athleticism. Unfortunately, John Wall did not live up to his standards. Last played January of 23, he was only 32. Anthony "Bust" Bennett. An absolute travesty of a disgraceful number 1 pick, the highlight of his career, Bill Simmons' reaction.
Anthony Bennett of Toronto, Canada.
Reese, I need medical help.
Considered a horrible draft class, why not take a gamble, only to select the worst player imaginable, an absolute train wreck, shrinking in epic proportions, struggle with weight conditioning, lack confidence, overwhelmed, failed to deal with adversity, traded to Minnesota as part of the Kevin Love package, continued to struggle on bad teams after bad teams, then off to Toronto and Brooklyn, never found a stable role or even lived up to a fraction of his potential, the true definition of a bust with no skill set. Any future top 3 picks who becomes a bust, their only goal, trying to play more than 151 career games, making them surpass Anthony Bennett to avoid all-time bust status. Ben Simmons, a combination of injuries, all-time lazy work ethic, falling in the category of winning the genetics lottery, only to take his talents for granted, will finish getting paid $200 million after 2025, being a professional basketball player, simply a chore for the 6'10" point guard. Doesn't care about his lack of jump shot, content with doing what he's great at, won't take the extra step to work on his flaws, only to taunt him the 2021 Hawks series. Ever since that choke job, Simmons allergic to playing NBA basketball. From being catered, the Sixers franchise known for not holding their players accountable, 57 total games played in a Nets uniform, the now 28-year-old supposed to be in the best player conversation by now, but continues to regress from defensive player candidate and near superstar material to a bootlegged version of Draymond Green, unless he tries to play it for another contract. If his back still causes him problems, given the irreparable damage he's already caused to his reputation, 2025 looking like the last time Ben Simmons will be in an NBA uniform. Crazy to think LeBron, drafted 13 years before Ben, most likely will outlast him. A very possible case, another Sixers failed number 1 pick, Marquel Fultz, one of the strangest careers, a combination of Phillies team doctors having him cleared to play, when in fact his shoulders absolutely bothered him, lasted 33 games in 2 seasons before being traded, plus his quiet personality makes him super easy to forget. Boston, knowing they were taking Tatum from the start, played the Sixers, allowing them to take the number 1 pick, but Fultz earned a second chance with the rebuilding magic, allowing him to take time recovering from injuries, show flashes of greatness, but only for stretches. Toward his knee the 21 season, played some good basketball 2023, but once Orlando became good with other young promising stars, Fultz left behind. His shoulder issue lingering him this past season, still unsigned. As of early August, LeBron a step closer to outlasting another #1 pick, Fultz drafted 14 years apart. The players LeBron most likely not gonna last unless something crazy happens. Kyrie 2 more years left in his deal. Still plenty of game left. Anthony Davis still playing like he's in his prime. Came off a monster two-way season. Andrew Wiggins paid till 2027. Karl Towns paid till 28. DeAndre Ayton 2 years left on his deal. Will be 28 years old by then. A lazy wasted talent will probably get another multi-year deal. Zion Williamson paid till 2028. New Orleans crossing their fingers, wishing he stay healthy. Anthony Edwards, the now 23-year-old, could become the official face of the league after James retires. Kate Cunningham, Paolo, and Wemby, all bright futures, should be stars for the next decade plus. James officially outlasting 7 total #1 picks selected after his class, about to outlast Derrick Rose, Ben Simmons, and Marquel Fultz, would make it 10 #1 picks post-LeBron draft to finish their careers sooner than the king of longevity himself. Sooner or later, we might have to ask ourselves whether LeBron will outlast even some of his most fierce so-called rivals, Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, and even other 2010 stars like James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. Let me know what y'all think about Bron's insane longevity. How many more years might he play in the league? Type down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video.